Welcome back to another episode of Manomeresco. Today we have another awesome guest. We have Daniel Colon, a creative healer who does many things, which we will talk about. So Daniel, thank you so much for being here. I'm super
Hey,
excited. How are you?
thank you. Thank you. Blessed and highly favored. Feeling good, feeling all the wonderful things. Also, like shout out, it's Hispanic Heritage Month. So to all our fellow Hispanic, Latinx peoples out there, like woo 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 woo. It's our time, but it's always our time.
Always, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Let's start with the first question: Is how did you guys started with what you like? What do you do, or what are
Mm,
of the many things that you do? What are
yeah.
those? And then how did you get into that? And then we'll
I
talk
mean,
dive deeper into that.
constantly asking myself what I do. I don't. I don't even know. I'm still figuring it out. I'm in the process of growing and expanding. I'm known as Color We Crazy,
Yes.
on the socials. If y'all don't know who I am, I'm a creator. Point blank. Period. Most of my creativity is a hope in hopes of bringing some positivity, some light, and also just some realness to this spiritual journey, if you
Yes.
want to call it that. Like sort of demystifying all the woo-woo bullshit that we see on the interwebs, and like bringing people who look like me, talk like me,
Yeah.
act like me, all of that into this space so that it's accessible to not only our people, our community, but to other, even queer identifying people who are looking for some context, looking for some healing in the, with the given circumstances that we're in right now, because this world is crazy, it's popping off. My mission is to, help people connect to their inner truth, their prophetic language, their creative abilities, to then, hopefully bring it and share it because we can all use it. There's an audience for all of us, and you never know what sharing your truth could do to somebody else. How like so much of my business has been me sharing my truth and other people going, "Oh my God, me too. This brought me so much comfort. This gave me a perspective shift." And if I'm doing that, then I know that I'm making an impact and I feel like I'm living in my purpose, whatever that is. But yeah, I do a lot. I do tarot. I'm a little bit of like a modern day Don Walter Mercado, although I'll never be like him. I'll never be like Walter. I also dabble into astrology. Also bringing the intersectionality of psychedelics and spirituality as
Okay.
well. Bringing that to uh, to a modern community because we're talking about it and trying to be an advocate to the plant medicine, as much as I can, and also bringing fun. Just like this should be fun. It could be fun. We can enjoy ourselves, even though there's doom and gloom happening in the world. Yeah, that doesn't mean you're desensitized to the doom and gloom. My aim is to, bring some love and light into the situation as well, because there's equally good things happening in the world as there are
Yeah.
bad things.
I think that's interesting. The last point that you mentioned, where it's like, at least for me, I always thought or had that belief, like, or that goal that I had to be happy all the time. And then
Hmm.
it's more
Yeah.
like recently where it's like, no, it's actually there's pretty lows and there's highs and there's like in between, and then it like fluctuates. It's not always gonna be like low, and then like I guess like the time varies on like how you on the times that you're low and the times that you're high. So like even like now,
Totally.
I feel like I'm in the low part. So it's like
Mm.
I'm trying to be conscious about it. And then I was listening to one of your podcasts actually, and
Yeah.
where it's like you have to still create that momentum while you're in the lows. So
Yeah.
that's what I've been trying to do. Like even like this weekend I went to New York to visit my family, and then I went
Mm.
on a solo date for the first time. I've never gone to a solo date, so that was pretty exciting. It was
Oh my
so much
gosh.
fun. Yeah,
What did you do?
I went to a little concert. I don't know if you heard of So Far Studios. I think that's what they're called. It's like a
So
version
far
of Tiny
studio.
Desk. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
cute, cute,
like yeah.
cute.
So yeah, I was like it was a small like thing, and even though I didn't talk to nobody, like even like just being by myself there, I was like,
Yeah.
what am I doing? Yeah, I was like, And then I was just like walking around afterwards, like in the city, and yeah, I got home like around 11, so yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun. It was fun, and I want to do it again for sure.
Oh, good. Keep doing it. Let me tell you, my first solo date, I
Yeah.
felt mad weird too. I'm just like, I was one of those people who was like, who goes to the movie theaters by themselves? It's so weird. Only weird people do that, or like only weird people take themselves out to dinner dates and whatnot. But the more I did it, the more I realized, like, wow, I really do have my back, like
Mm,
we wait around for we wait around to be invited,
yeah.
and or to be included. But like you start that, you create that inclusion, you create that openness, and like fuck yeah, go to that concert, take yourself out to a museum, go out, take that pottery class,
Go out to
like
eat by yourself.
yes, if I'm craving sushi, I'm gonna go out and get me some sushi, and that's it, and that's so much of like what Puerto Rico became for me when I went back to Puerto Rico. It
Okay.
was really me, like practicing that, just like becoming my own soulmate, because like so many of us that like we have so many people yearning for that other half, quote unquote,
Yeah,
other half love. And it feels good. It feels
it
good when we're
does.
in it. But like I think the journey of becoming your own soulmate and really becoming your ride or die and like having your best interest in mind and then bringing that to a relationship, it's like adding gasoline to the mix. It's so beautiful. So many of us are looking for others to complete us, but we're not realizing that, we're the ones who complete us.
Yeah.
We're the ones who complete us. And then whoever comes along the way, it's an added bonus. It's nice. Um, but yeah, I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. Take yourself out on more dates. What's the next one? What's the next spot? What do you want? What would you like to do next?
I was actually thinking on ceramics, like
Oh
painting
shit.
ceramics. So yeah, because that Friday I was on social media like what to do in New York City, and then
Yeah.
I saw the Soulfire one, so like oh let me just do it, like it's fine, and because I wasn't really sure what I wanted, because that day I also wanted to go to Karol G's concert, because there
Uh-huh.
was like a manifestation type of thing where like I wanted to go to see mostly
Yeah.
like Young Miko, but
Hmm.
but the tickets like my I was gonna go with my friend too, so like it pretty much like I had the opportunity, but because I thought about it too much, specifically like financially wise, I was like, do
Yeah.
I really want to pay this much for a ticket?
Hmm.
So the universe was pretty much like, okay, you don't if you don't like decide now, it's like bam, it's gone. So it was pretty much gone. So I was like, okay, the closest thing to a concert would be Soulfire Studios, and then I also saw
Yeah.
the ceramics one, so I'm like, okay, I'll probably go. I'm actually
Yeah.
going also this Friday to a networking event. I don't know if you heard of Rachel Rogers, but
Rachel
she's
Rogers, no.
no,
Yes.
but she's like a business like really awesome businesswoman, and
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. Yes.
yeah.
Yes, yes. It came back to me. It came all coming back. Yes, I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
so I'm going
Mhm.
to one of her events because she's doing like a podcast live type of thing. So
Okay.
I'm going to that by
Great.
myself too. So it's gonna be exciting, I think.
It's gonna
I'm
be, it is. It is. Affirm it. Affirm it to the
it is.
universe. It's gonna be, it is exciting. It's
It
amazing.
is
You're doing things for you, and that's just
getting out of myself,
beautiful.
son, out of my comfort zone. There, I was saying
Yeah.
it backwards. Zone
Zone
of
of
comfort.
comfort. I know you got the Spanish in there.
Zona de confort. Um,
Exacto, exacto.
going back
That's
to
beautiful.
you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. But going
Oh,
back to
well,
you.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I have my question would be like, how did you get into like all the spiritual like side of things? Especially,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Let's go
Yeah.
there.
Ooh, girl, it's a saga. But like I guess the Spark Notes version of it would be like I grew up a spiritual person,
Okay.
I grew up, you know, I like Hispanic roots, Latin roots, all of that. Well, spirituality is ingrained in like our DNA, whether or not you're praying to Papa Dios or
Yeah.
like La Virgen or maybe cussing out God or whatever, like there is a spiritual influence in us that is undeniable. So, I did the Catholic Church stuff, did the
Okay.
communion,
Oh
did
yeah.
all of that, had my little white baptismal suit, all sorts of things. But like we would do that like during the week, and on the weekends we were brujeando, like we were doing all the brujerias, like
Okay.
we were like, if anybody knows espiritismo and santeria, like it's a very occult, practice of just connecting to spirit, like
Okay.
channeling spirit guides and all of that. So from a very early age, I saw magic happening like right in front of me. I
Mm.
saw curanderos. I
Oh
saw
wow.
just like legit, like, whoa, unexplainable stuff. And of course, as a young one, I was like, I want to get in on this. And also everyone needs to know. Everyone needs to know about it. To which my teachers and my madrina, my padrino, they were like, no, we can't talk about this to everyone. There was a secretive element to the religion and the
Okay.
practices, which, understandable. Like white people steal shit, and like they were trying to protect their religion because religion has been so heavily colonized. Um, but like one thing happened, led to another, and the my godfather just like disappeared. The religion just stopped, which I think happens for a lot of us. There's this moment in time where like we're going to church, we're doing the communion, we're doing the confessions and all of that,
Yeah.
and Padre, Hijo, Espíritu Santo, and all of it, and then it just like stops. Then we just stop going. Then we stop practicing spirituality or just questioning or wondering or asking questions, all of that. So it stopped, and I became a hardcore atheist after that.
Ooh, okay.
I was just like, I don't believe in any of it. Perhaps I was just making it up in my mind. And naturally, I found myself in partnerships where they didn't believe in it either. So I was like, yeah, I don't believe in it too, because my partner doesn't believe in it. And I went through this whole phase where I just didn't believe in anything, which landed me in rock bottom on many occasions. Faith is a very important thing, and you can have faith in football, you can have faith in Buddha and Jesus, whatever it is, but that is something that keeps the human spirit going. So I found myself in New York. I found myself really unhappy. I found myself almost like unaliving myself because I felt like I had no purpose. I felt like I was alone. I felt like I had nothing really going on. One thing happened, led to another, that I wasn't successful in my attempt of unaliving myself, which, brought this whole questioning of like, well, what was keeping me here? What is keeping me here? And that's where plant medicine really comes into play. I had my first experience with mushrooms, and I was reminded of my spiritual nature. And I was reminded that ultimately all that this religion is, all that religion is, all that spirituality is connecting us to our inner source of love. And love is spiritual, loving of self, loving of others, loving of all of us, no matter where we come from. And then that's where I was like, fuck, there is something here. There is absolutely something here. Even on our worst days, there is something that really is rooting for us, that really wants us to succeed, that really wants us to be our best self. And when we're in that pocket, everything's good, everything's flowing, everything's gravy. And when we're not in that pocket, we're cursing that thing out for fuck you for not being in the pocket anymore. And it's like that fault and done. And I just like, I don't know. I think it happens to all of us in some point in our lives where we question, like, what is it that we're actually doing here?
Yeah.
And like, I look to my family, I look to my ancestors, and there was a through line of like, of a theme of people feeling trapped in their experience, people feeling trapped in their circumstances. And I was like, I know that freedom is a birthright. I know that freedom of to be yourself, to be happy. I know that it's there that we came into this world to experience that. And after that, after my experience with the mushrooms and my experience in just like going for what I actually wanted and not what they wanted, um, I found myself actually feeling happier, feeling better, feeling more aligned. And then I ran off to Puerto Rico to connect to my roots, and that added a whole other element to my journey.
Or
And,
I have one question. How did you find out, or what was it that you were doing to find out what you wanted to do?
mm, well, I mean, we know what we want to do. Like
Tell me the secret.
I think we play stupid of like, well, I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. I think what gets in the way is comparison. Comparing
Okay.
our success or like the idea of success. Like, because the thing is, egoically, we want something and we want that thing now, and we want to be the
Mm.
best at that thing right now,
Yeah.
which is a product of social conditioning. It's that instant gratification. You know, you hop on Amazon, you can get something in 4 hours delivered to your door. And we've been literally conditioned to like, want something, get it now, want something, getting now. If we're not getting it now, then we're not going to do the work to get it. So like part of me getting what I wanted was just trying on all the things that I had interest in, that I had
Mm.
curiosity in. You know, we're so curious by nature as children. We're
Mm.
so fucking curious. Like we are always asking, why this? Why is the sky blue? Why is the grass green? Why is this? Why? And then we stop asking because, you know, our mother told us to stop asking so many questions, or our teacher told us to stop asking so many questions,
Mm-hmm.
or it's like we forget that we have a voice. We forget that we have this inner drive to just answer these questions through experience and through trying things on.
Yeah.
So we somewhere along the journey, you know, I was just like, fuck, I'm just gonna try this on. I'm just gonna do
Mm-hmm.
this, even if I'm not gonna be good at it, even if I'm not gonna be perfect, I'm just gonna try it on because the one thing that is true is that if you're curious about something and you keep doing it over and over and over and over again, you become a master at that craft. You do.
Yeah.
It's just law.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the one thing that separates like Beethoven from like somebody else who is like just dabbling in piano, or
Yeah.
Beyonce wasn't built in a day. She goes into the rehearsal room, she rehearses over and over and over again. She perfects her performance over and over again.
Yeah.
We see the final product, but we don't see the process. We don't see the journey, and we came here for the journey. We didn't come here for the final result. We came here for the like the whoa, look at how far I came. And trust and
Mm.
believe you'll get to this level of like being really good at what you're doing. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm really good at what I do, but like I'm just like, what next though?
Yeah.
What's the next thing? What's the next thing and the next thing? Like our soul just innately craves expansion, craves growth. If we're not growing, we're dying. If we're not growing, we're
Yeah.
stagnant, and that's where that fear comes in, and people are scared of just trying something
Trying.
on
Yeah.
and being really bad at it. They go, oh, since I was bad at it, since I wasn't just naturally good at this, then I'm a fucking garbage monster. But like you're really not. Like think of a child who makes like some sort of macaroni painting. They're gluing all these things, and to the child's mind, like this is the Picasso, the most beautiful work of art that it's going to change the world.
Yeah.
And they really wholeheartedly believe it. And they show it to mommy or daddy and they go,
It's
oh,
so
okay,
pretty.
it's so beautiful. We're going to put it on the fridge. But even that idea of beauty, the notion of beauty, by the time we're adults, like it's been so siphoned, it's been so filtered by other people's definition of what is beautiful.
Mm.
But the one thing that is beautiful is messy, it's messy, and that messiness leads to perfection. That messiness leads to another form of beauty. So yeah, I tried things on. And I was so bad at it. I was so bad at it. I'm like, I have stained glass stuff. I just was like, I want to try out stained glass. Like now I'm doing stained glass, like I was like, oh, well, I want to talk to a camera and I want to be really good at it and not say too many ums or likes or this. I want to feel really comfortable in front of a camera. So I would record over and over and over and
Mm.
over again. And I'd watch myself and be like, whoa, where did this come from? Where did this uncertainty come from? Where did this come from? Why do I not feel confident in my truth? What is my
Yeah.
truth? Dot, 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 dot. And now I'm here.
No, I think that's what it is, and I think that's like really the secret. At least the things I've heard about, like trying to figure out what your purpose is, what your mission is. It's really all about
Mm,
self explore exploración,
Self-exploration.
sex
Yeah,
exploration. There we
claro.
go.
Sí, 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 sí.
So it's and that's what I've been trying to do this year, kind of. Mostly, I started with a podcast where it's like, okay, I get to meet like these amazing individuals who are like doing their own thing, and
Yeah.
then I've been trying to work. I'm trying to do more sex exploration, like self discovery, like within myself. Like, what do I believe? Because I feel like
Hmm.
when I started my personal development journey, you could say it was just like about like 2 years ago. I wasn't really
Hmm.
working on myself. I was just getting a bunch of knowledge. Like, okay, this is
Yep.
this. But then it's like, but then I would get frustrated because I wouldn't see no change. And the
Hmm.
reason there was no change was because I did not change anything within myself. So that's what I've
Yeah.
been working this year, and it's been working. You say, where like I'm actually seeing changes. Where now I'm actually like this month I made 6 months through the podcast, and it's been a whole journey within that too because it's and when you were saying how there's like people who just like want to stop after like just a few months, let's say. For me, I started in March, and in April, I was already like, no, this
I'm
is not
done
for
with this.
me. Because I remember there was like a few times where I will like one of my struggles is like expressing myself. Like I feel like I ramble too
Hmm.
much, or just I just can't put my words in a
Hmm.
concise or like even like right now I'm like, okay, how do I say this? And
Because you're
then
watching yourself.
yeah, I'm like, say this right, Andrea. And then there was like times where I would like literally forget. There was like two times where I would forget my train of thought, or I would just like I would just
Hmm.
forget. Now that for me that would be like so embarrassing. I'm like, no. But then I would like have to remind myself like, no, like you just started and you barely talk to like your family here, so how do you expect like to know how to
Wow.
communicate? So it
Yeah.
was a lot of like self talk, but like, okay, you got this, like just be consistent with it, and then you'll start seeing the results. And it's still like
Mm.
a whole process and all of that, but yeah, I think that's the practicing and just going out there and doing what you're curious about. It's
Yeah.
important. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just the consistency. It's just the consistency and like also knowing what do you want to model? Like when you think of
yeah,
yourself as someone who is grounded in their voice, who is very clear and concise with their message, how do they walk? What does that look
yeah,
like? Try it on. Like literally everything, these clothes that we put on, RuPaul talks about it, like we're all born naked and the rest is drag. Like this is drag, we're putting all of these things on. Trust and believe these
yeah.
people who are quote unquote successful, they tried on that voice. Like, what would the most successful version
Mm,
of me look like? And
yeah.
how would they show up in the world? And it's all rehearsal. Like the self,
Mm,
what you want to grow into, it's all rehearsal until it becomes like in your back pocket. Like, I was
mm.
a hot ass express, fumbling over my words, and also like, hey guys, I'm going to show you exactly how to be the spiritual person. Subscribe and like for more. I did the whole like social media influencer voice, and I was like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Who is this girl I see staring straight back at me? Like, I don't know her. Um, and then I got to know me. I got to know at least the version of self that I wanted to step into. And also this idea of purpose, it's bogus, it's baloney. Like
Mm,
I think the self growth world, this personal development world is going to have you hung up on like you got to find your purpose. You got to find your purpose now, and if you don't find your purpose now, you're a loser. That's not it. It's not also one
okay.
purpose. Your
Mm,
purpose changes. You can change your mind. You can shift in another direction.
mm,
I think ultimately the one purpose I would think, and I would think to be true, is that we want to grow, we want to experience, and how we go about experiencing and growing and evolving, those are just the little things that we try on.
yeah.
Our purpose is to love. Our purpose is to love and to experience, and how you go about doing it, that's your unique juice, that's your flavor, your sazon, your
Mm,
adobo right there.
yeah.
Like everything else is just fluff. But like give yourself time. There's no rush. We got so much time. We're gonna do this again and again and again and again and again and again.
Then I have a question for you. Or how, because I feel like I'm going through that now where at least for me, I feel like I understand the concepts of like, you gotta leave intentional, you gotta explore and all of that. But then do you, how do you keep like yourself like motivated in order to not go into like that downhill of like if you're already like let's say like for me like I'm in the low, how do I not keep
Hmm.
putting myself in that low and then start going
Mm,
high? Like how do I live? I don't even know what my question is, but
yeah, I
or
feel
maybe you
you.
like comment on that. I don't know.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. I got your back. Um, well, I'm hearing a couple things. I'm hearing like, how do we keep the momentum going? How do I stay out of the low? And like when things aren't working out, when I'm not feeling that like super connection to like my purpose or whatever that is, when I'm
Yeah.
not feeling super connected to it, how do I get connected to it again? And for me, as of lately, this is what I've been trying on. It's a question that Wayne Dyer asks, who's an amazing speaker. Look him up. Really, really great. Wayne Dyer. But something that he asks quite often is, how can I serve? How can I serve? This idea that what we do, what we're motivated by, when it's motivated by service, like we're giving a service, when we're giving service and we're bringing this service to help people, help others, whether that is help someone understand and see themselves even through this podcast. There are other people in the world who are just like you, I'm sure, who are in the same process of understanding themselves. And like I'm speaking to it from another side of it, but you're speaking to it from a very important space. You never know, by you just sharing yourself authentically as you are right now, how it could inspire somebody out in the world to keep going. I think what keeps me going is other people, keeping other people going, and knowing that what I'm doing in the world, no matter how big, no matter how small, is helping other people see themselves, love themselves, accept themselves, and just like surrender to the experience. You're never going to get out of that low. Share that low with the world. We don't want to see you high all the time. Like, we want to see those ugly parts. We want to see those messy parts. That's the beauty, the complexity of this human experience. It's a full spectrum. It's not just everybody in the personal development area. They're going to be like, but you must be your best. You must be your best. Be your best all the time. No, I want a nap right now. I want a nap right now. Actually, I have a podcast scheduled with somebody in like a few hours, and I don't even know if I really want to do that right now. I don't know if I really want to talk right now. Speak on it, and always bring yourself back to your purpose, that not even want to say purpose, your why. Like, what is your why? What is that why? And if it's motivated by service, my why is to serve. That's why I do these podcasts, like that's why I show up in the ways that I do, because you never know how it's gonna help
Yeah.
somebody. You never know. And while you're in that low, you treat yourself nice, you treat yourself kind, you let yourself know that there's clarity on the horizon. Like, it always gets clearer again. But
Yeah.
sometimes you got to go through these gray ass clouds in order for you to like
Super
see like,
great.
oh, yeah, the sun was there the whole entire time. I was just like, but you got to let it pass. It's all weather. It'll pass. It always does.
Yeah, I have this uh I did a solo podcast by myself, and one of the things that I learned, because it was like the 6 lessons I've learned this year, and one of them was like this too shall pass. Like
Yeah.
that's a thing. And
Yeah.
I think like for you, how have you like dealt with like the, I guess like, would it be like nostalgia, like the moments that have passed, and it's like
Mm,
you've never, like those moments are not gonna happen again.
I
How have you dealt with
know.
that?
It's happening now. Let me tell you, I'm 33. I'm 33 now. So like Jesus year, you wouldn't know it by my face because,
Oh,
that's
in your
Puerto
early
Rican Boricua,
20s.
baby. Yeah, thank you. But like I'm seeing my body change, I'm seeing my metabolism slow down.
Okay.
I'm seeing like, okay, cool. I'm getting older. I'm look back at pictures when I was this 20 in my early 20s. I'm like, wow, look at me there. And it's just like it's changed. Um, I think as far as like nostalgia goes, it's like for me, what's helping is understanding that even this moment right now, where I'm at, I'm gonna look back at this moment nostalgically as well. Like you're creating nostalgia even right here, right now. And those moments, they're past, they're long gone, but they're still a part of you. You still carry them with you. If you get too hung up on the shoulda, coulda, woulda's, and you're shitting all over yourself, it's like, no, like you're carrying all of these experiences with you. Like, oh, to be a kid again. Yeah, the sheer freedom of like not having to pay for bills or
Yeah.
not having to like do all of these adulting things and whatnot. Like, I feel like, yeah, we would have probably relished those moments a little bit more. And that's where that nostalgia really comes in. Like, I
Yeah.
would have really appreciated it a lot more had I, like, if I can go back right now. But like the lesson is in that is, well, it shouldn't stop you from appreciating right now then, it shouldn't
Yeah.
stop you
Ooh.
from,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Don't wait for nostalgia to come around. You can't go back there. It should teach you like, wow, right now is the moment. This is the moment to relish. And looking back at those moments is showing you time and time again, like these are the moments to relish because they are here and they are gone. You know, they are here, they
Yeah.
are gone.
That's interesting because that's, I think unconsciously that's something I've been doing, or at least there's
Yeah.
like, throughout my day, there's like, I really try to be present in at least one moment, so
Hmm.
that, and then I really really enjoy it. So like even if I had a bad day or whatever, like I have that moment to remember, like okay, like
Yeah.
this was good.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I would throw out. I'm gonna start it again, but create a joy jar. Create a joy jar every day before going to bed. You write something that brought you joy in that day. Trust and believe there is at least one thing, whether it's like I ate some ice cream and it slapped, or like whatever. Like just write it out, put it in a jar, put the date on it, and by the end of the year, go back and look and you'll see like, wow, there was a lot of joy in my year. There was a lot of things that actually happened.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're
That's
growing even
nice.
if you don't feel like you are.
That
Like,
compound effect.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, nostalgia is fun. Like, take your nostalgia, but take it responsibly. Use it
Don't
as
dwell on
a
it too much.
yeah,
Yeah.
use it as a catalyst to like, wow, that
Like
was
and
great.
you can create more moments like that if you keep working on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you are
That.
literally creating nostalgia right now. Right now, you're creating nostalgia. Yeah.
Because even like right now, like actually like right now, I still can't believe I'm talking to you. Like I watch your videos. I was watching your video and I was like, I can't believe I'm talking to him. Oh my god!
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah.
I was so, I even like before this, like I was super super nervous. I was like what
Oh,
am I gonna ask? Like he's so like you seem so wise. So I'm like I know I could learn so
that.
much, but just like asking my questions, like well, there's like so much like helping me with my whole life.
Let me tell you, I may seem wise, I may seem all those wonderful things, but trust and believe, all this that I'm saying are things that I still struggle from
Implement.
time to time implementing and integrating. Like, I am no saint, I am no guru, I'm none of that. Like, half of the time when I'm talking in the way that I'm talking, it's like my higher self talking. This is what my highest self would say to me. This is what my highest self would say to other people. Now, my success rate at actually implementing this wisdom, like I would say more often than not, I am and living in that embodiment.
Yeah.
But I like the subconscious mind is just, it's a force to be reckoned with. Like sometimes we don't even realize we're falling asleep when like when it's like, oh shit, how long have I been in this mind
Yeah.
state? How long have I been asleep? How long have I not been practicing literally everything that I've been spitting out? Like it's a daily practice. Like you're never gonna perfect it. Like there's always gonna be you're always gonna have an inner saboteur. You're always gonna have like that inner critic. You're always going to have all these voices, all these opposing forces. And you are the voice that goes, no, 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 this, focus on this. You're that voice of focus. You're the awareness that goes, actually, no, not this, not this, not this, not this. But like we're lazy, you know. We're lazy.
Maybe
Sometimes,
a bit more than
sometimes we
I
go,
should.
actually, subconscious, just handle it. Awareness is a lot of responsibility and so exhausting. I don't want to look at myself this much. Just like Jesus, take the wheel and see where I end up. Um,
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons, and like that thing, like that's why some people stay stuck in the same
yeah,
lifestyle, and
yeah,
that sucks too.
yeah. For years, for years, for months, for decades, even,
Decades.
like not even entertaining that. But trust and believe they're gonna get theirs. There's gonna be a rock bottom moment that, that really jolts them into like, you have a choice here. And like for me, I did rock bottom, rock bottom, rock bottom, rock bottom, rock bottom until like that very clear rock bottom moment. I was like, oof, I don't know if I have another one in me. Because if I have another one, if another one happens like this, like goodbye. I'm
Yeah,
just, it's too much. So my offering to that is like, you don't have to continue hitting rock bottom, to choose yourself to do better. If you want to do better, you can take little steps. Like there are literally signs and clues around you happening 24/7, telling you and showing you like, hey, if you make this choice again, guess where you're gonna land. You've been here before, you've done this before. What's the other option? I say all the time, choose other, choose other, choose other. And
that's
that's the rewiring the subconscious mind.
that's interesting that you say that because I feel like right now I'm in the same situation as I was last year, in the
Hmm.
sense that I'm about to finish my seasonal work. So I work at a concert
Yeah.
venue, so it's about
Yeah.
to be done this month,
Yeah.
and I was working at another job too, which I quit the same day that the other job was also done. And
Wow.
then I had enough money to save, and one of my things was going to travel to another go travel to another state and
Yeah.
live there for like a month or two because I had enough
Yeah.
money. So I'm like, okay, I got
Fuck
this.
yeah.
And then I didn't do it. So I did not do it, and I'm in the same situation where that money was gone because I had to pay. I live with my mom, but I still had to pay rent. So
Of course.
all that money just went to rent. So I
Yeah.
had zero. Like I literally when
Yeah.
I started working, I had like $20 in my bank account, something
Yeah.
like that.
I feel that. Girl, sometimes I wake up and I still have that much in my bank account. Like, but I know I'm abundant, like I know I'm blessed. I know that there's a lot that I do have and that I do have access to. Like, sure, you will go to another state, you will experience this, but why wait to experience it like then when you can introduce yourself to that life like right now. It doesn't cost too much to like hop on a bus, or if you have a car or whatever, it doesn't hop too much to hop on a train and just like take a day trip or take a weekend trip, and go someplace new. Like there's a way for you to experience that right now little by little, so that like you're at least in alignment or close to what it is that you want to experience, which is like a month
Yeah.
of complete like immersion in some place else. So like, yeah, you're getting there. It's okay. It happened, and now like when it shows up again, hopefully it shows up a little louder, like.
That's, I actually was when I was listening to your podcast again. I did watch like I
Yeah.
listened to two episodes, and one of them you talked about or you mentioned, I forgot the name of it, but it was like at least for me I heard it through numerology where like there's a place
Mm,
where I think you were talking about like how I don't know how to explain, but it pretty much like the place has like a vibration where you feel more aligned to it, and I think you mentioned for you is like
yeah.
mountains and stuff like that. So
Yes.
so
Yes.
I searched it up for me like what place would be good, and for me it was like Virginia Beach, which is like pretty close to here. So
Yeah.
I looked at the price tickets for the airplane. I was like, okay, it's not that bad. So now I'm
Yeah.
thinking of going to Virginia, but then I was looking at a car rental. I'm like, that's like a thousand
Yo.
two hundred dollars. I'm like,
And gas is not cheap, honey. It's
no.
not.
So for those reasons, like for me, like I could say like, oh yeah, I'll go. Like I was thinking November, but then
Yeah.
I look into other factors like car rentals and then like rent for that month. It's like do I really, or can I really actually do this? Because then I you see
Mm-hmm.
you at least you compare yourself to other people where like, oh, they just like went and left, but like these people have a car, or
Yeah.
they have something that helps them minimize the the expenses.
Right.
So I think what you
Well,
said about the weekend trips,
I hear I hear beach, and I know there's beaches over there,
yeah,
like there's still beach energy. Like the ocean is very healing, and like I mean, maybe just being close to water is gonna get you
yeah,
closer to that feeling of like there's just certain elements of nature that make our hearts sing for sure.
mm-hmm.
Anytime I see a mountain, I'm just like, fuck. Like, wow, they're so wise, they're so old, and so much
Mm-hmm.
history there. And like in that, I feel connected to my inner child. And when we're connected to our inner child in that way, we're connected to wonderment, we're connected to awe,
Mm-hmm.
we're connected to that vibration of abundance.
Yeah,
So you just got to get closer to it. Go out to a
yeah.
beach.
I think
It's
that's what
like,
it is. It's like getting
yeah.
that feeling. It's not really about going to another state. It's getting that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Because then I also I don't know what your thoughts about this are about this, but there's also that oh see I forgot my thought.
She'll come back. Choo
Okay.
choo.
Um damn. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say something and then I forgot. But let me ask you another question then.
Yeah.
What's something that you're working on now? Something that you're like, okay,
Mm.
I should this yeah, something that you're working on now.
Something that I'm working on now. Honestly, I'm in like a exploration phase right now
Mm,
where
okay.
I'm like very much in a very similar space that brought me here of like, okay, cool, what next? What's the next thing?
Mm-hmm.
I have gained a significant amount of followers, which is nice. But like to that, I say, well, what do I do with this? What do I do with these peoples, with this following? Like, what am I doing here? I like, and the word monetization comes up. Well, now you got
Mm.
to really businessify it. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, I'm, what do you mean? Like, I grew up on
Mm-hmm.
food stamps and WIC, and like
Ooh, yeah.
paycheck to paycheck was what we learned. Like, and like when tax season came along, it was like, "Woo, we got a refund!" Like that means we rich for like these 2 weeks, and then we're hella broke. So it was like really working through that narrative and like, okay, cool. How do I do that? How do I break this narrative? Um, to because like money is our birthright, abundance is a
Yeah.
birthright, and like it's something I say all the time, and I'm like, but then why am I so fucking broke? And it's
Yeah.
because I'm not connect something is not sparking it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been approaching the business aspect of all of this like very much how other people have done it, how other entrepreneurs have done it, but I keep doing it and I'm like, it's tiring, it's exhausting, and it doesn't excite me. And I'm not
Mm.
hungry in that way
Yeah.
for that. And so right now I'm in the process of that, of just like, okay, cool, how can I really make something like happen? And where I'm at, it's like people are missing. Uh and like maybe bringing Color We Crazy to like a public space and having an open conversation and
Mm.
having a healing session where we're meditating together,
Mm.
um where there's an intention set, because it's been a lot of me. It's been a lot of social media and not a lot of
Mm.
media. And that's what we really need right now. We need each other.
That connection.
Yeah, that connection. All of us are in our own little personal
Mm-hmm.
silos, just like dealing with shit on our own, and
Yeah.
it keeps us trapped in that loop, and we're so disconnected. I feel it in myself too. Like I would much rather hermit and just like keep to myself and like do my little videos here and there, but I'm really comfortable doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
very much like I said before, like if you're like com- comfort is the enemy of growth. If you're comfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah.
Growth is uncomfortable. There are growing pains to go along with it. So I think the next part of my journey is really stepping into community, really embodying community, and like exploring what community looks like for me. Because I've always yearned to be a part of one. Um, but like none of them have stuck, you know.
Yeah. I could definitely relate to all that you said. Yes.
Yeah, none of them have really stuck. And it just like, and you in my personal life, they're the clues. I look at my family and it all feels kind of estranged. Like we're all, doing our own thing. And
Yeah.
growing up, it was like family's the most important thing. We're all together. And like, well, now where's Fulano? And like, where's this person? And now the family is not united unless we're
Mm-hmm.
talking shit about each other.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's not community to me. It doesn't feel right. And I don't want to continue enabling that behavior, that narrative, because it's not love to me. That's not love to me.
Yeah. I think for me with the family part, I also like um I think it was like maybe a year or two where I was like really really like thinking about like this because at least for my mom always something like family is the most important thing. That's one of our core
Yeah.
values. But then I will like
Hmm.
look at the actions that our family would do like and it's like is family really a core value of
Yeah.
ours? Like everybody's doing their own thing. Like some people don't get along with each other. Some are talking shit about each
Hmm.
other, and it's like I don't know if I want to be part of this or if family really is a core value.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. So
Hmm.
I really had to like either distance myself from certain individuals
Yeah.
or really start being more intentional with the relationships that I had. So I really try to improve the
Hmm.
relationship with my mom, and even this year I'm trying to improve the relationship with my dad because
Oh
that
yeah.
was a difficult one. And then
Good
and
for
then
you.
my brothers too. Like even I think it was last month I probably had my first real conversation with one of my brothers. It was like a 3 hour conversation,
Mm.
and that says a lot because I've barely talked to my brothers for like 20 minutes, if
Yeah.
that. So that was
Yeah.
really like that nostalgic moment that was like that was
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah.
Um, but another thing I
Yeah.
want to talk about that you mentioned was like money, like relationship with money, because that's like a
Hmm.
section that I talk about in the podcast. So
Yeah.
for you, because I love finances. So for you, how or when growing up, how was your relationship with money? And then we could
Hmm.
dive deeper into
Really
after
good
that.
question. I mean, my relationship growing up with money was like money comes, money goes. Money doesn't stay.
Yeah.
Money doesn't stay. Like I'll tell you, like we may have been on the food stamps and all of these Medicaid and all these sort of things, but like somehow we were like still like somewhat bougie, like we still had nice things,
Yeah.
like we still had nice, even though my mom was working so hard, like single mother of three boys. I'm the
Oh
oldest of
wow.
three. Like even though my mom was busting her ass working, like she always made sure that we had these nice things. She always made sure that we weren't like if she was like if you have tenis, there's tenis de marca, like we have like Nikes or whatever. Like we always went to school like with good clothes and whatnot, which was like nice to have, but it also conditioned this response of like of status, like oh, status is things that you have.
Yeah.
Status are the like if you don't have the things, then you don't. If you don't have the newest iPhone, then you're poor. If you don't have the newest this, then you're not successful. Then you're struggling. And you see this narrative in the collective, like very loud, very clear. So where I'm at in the process of all of that, like today, is understanding that I already have everything that I need. Like I already have everything that I really need. And with that, when I find that I'm really practicing and embodying that, I find that the universe gives me more.
Yeah.
I find that she's like, here's this opportunity. So like through being really grateful for what I have authentically, I'm finding that it is opening me up to other ventures. Like even with Color Me Crazy and my business stuff, I'm realizing that the reason why it's not working is because I am creating all of these things to make money. It's like, okay, cool. Here's this for you. Here's this for you, so that I can make some more money, so that I can expand my income, so I can expand my thing. And I'm starting to realize like maybe that's the reason why it's not working. First realizing what the value is that you're giving to others, and then working backwards from there. Um, so yeah, money growing up, money came, money goes, money doesn't stay. But I'm adamant in really overcoming that obstacle and having money stay, not only for me but like for other people too, because like I'd love to be able to, hey, do you have this? Here you go, not even bat an eyelash. Hey, I really need some help here. Boom, Doma, here you go. No
Yeah.
problem whatsoever. Like, mommy, what do you need? Grandma, what do you need? Family, community, what do you need? Here are these resources. Here's something that I can offer for you. Here, you know what? I'm going to offer one-on-one coaching sessions for like an entire month for free because like,
Because I
boom, I
can.
know I'm set. Yeah, because I can't. Like that is service, that is service. So, yeah, yeah, that's where I'm at with the money things.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you mentioned, I think one that I've been hearing recently is that like the service part where if you give like because intention like just
Hmm.
seeing you wanting something back, then whatever you do, like money is gonna be the byproduct of it. It's not because you're thinking
Exactly.
of it like, oh, because if I do this, then money, I'm gonna get X amount of money. It's
Yeah.
because I do this with intention and because I love where I'm selling, what I'm doing, whatever it is, the service or product
Yeah.
I'm providing. Then that's just gonna be the money's gonna be the byproduct of it, and I took that really into consideration or really seriously. We're like, okay, I'm not gonna worry about money. I'm not gonna focus about on money.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
What can I give or what? Like even like now, right now, I don't have a product nor service, but I do
Hmm.
wanna. I've been wanting to do this series on like how to become or how me becoming my experience in becoming an independent adult. So I'm gonna be learning how
Mm.
to cook. I'm gonna be learning how to clean el baño. Like actually do it properly, not just like un jabón y agua. Like no, tell me the
Yeah.
actual things.
Yeah,
So
we need
right,
that.
so I really, really want to do that, and so I'm trying to be intentional with it and not just focus. Because then my mind was like, okay, I could do affiliate marketing, I could do like brand collaborations, but it's like,
Yeah.
no, at least first actually create the content, and
Yeah.
then we could focus on that. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely that's been an eye
Yeah.
opening thing for me in my relationship with money.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
have you read any books or listened to podcasts, specifically about
Yeah.
money?
Yeah, well, there's of the classics like Think and Grow Rich.
Mm.
There's that one. And honestly, as far as money goes, for the most part, where I've gained a lot of my philosophy from is Abraham Hicks.
Yes.
Yeah, love me some Abe, baby. Abe Hicks, she takes me there. She does it for me. Um, because I think she gives a more general idea of like what law of attraction is. And like more focused on the feeling of abundance, the feeling of it versus like when's the money coming in, how much are you making, or all of that. It's just understanding that money is just an energetic
Money's energy.
wavelength. Yeah, money is energy. Yeah, abundance, and it's a type of energy stemming from abundance. And abundance is here, abundance is now, abundance exists in so many ways. Like
Yeah.
the fact that we're even doing this right now, we're on this call, and like, you've been able to download it on your little hard drive, and like you have a roof above your head and all this, those through lines, those things that they were thrown in our face when we were little, like, mal agradecido, you have a roof above your head, there's food on the table, there's this, there's that, like I take you to school, there's a car, and like, oh, and like, they were thrown in our face, but I'm finding that as an adult now that I've been able to sit with the trauma and the drama and all of that, like I'm like, oh, they were actually trying to tell us something really important and really special there. It's like, yeah, we have a roof above our heads. We have tiny little computers in our pockets that like if we have a question, we get the answer right away. Once upon a
Mm-hmm.
time, you would just go without knowing. Like if you had a
Yeah.
question about something, you just wouldn't know. And now, like, what a privilege it is to like be able to look something up whenever we want to. The tools and the resources that technology offers us, like abundance is all around us. When we start really appreciating it and really start like, wow, what a gift it is, and really
Mm-hmm.
living in the gift of that, the universe gifts more. She just does. That's just law, like
Mm-hmm.
law of cause and effect, law of resonance, You're resonating with gifting and like what a gift, what a gift. And the universe, she reflects that back at you. Here's a gift, here's a gift, here's a gift, here's a
Mm-hmm.
gift. You know, it may not be the $1 million that you want to randomly deposit in your bank account, but as a gift. It
Mm-hmm.
may be like a free meal. It may be you
Yeah.
know you ended up getting randomly an extra couple tanks of gas in your car that like, I don't know, the gas thing glitched out and it's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like you may get a random Amazon package delivered to you and it's just like, holy shit, I didn't know this was for me. But yeah.
What has been like one thing, or I'm pretty sure you have many, but like a manifestation
Mm.
experience that you had where you're like, holy crap.
Oh, wow. I mean, the best one that I'm living in right now is like I'm living with my soulmate and like I'm manifested the love that I've been looking for and been searching for. Like, and let me tell you, I've went through so many bugaboos and so many just like not aligned people that I was trying to convince myself they were the one
Mm-hmm.
and that they were the right people for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really, for 2.5 years, I really practiced just becoming my own soulmate and really loving myself. And I got sick with COVID. Um, and I do these lives on Instagram where I guide collective meditation. I'll read tarot on Instagram Live, but this was during a challenge that I was like guiding meditation every single morning, every single day. And it was like a lot. But I got COVID, and I was sick and I still wanted to show up because I love to
Mm-hmm.
show up. And it was the first time in 2.5 years that I was like, these are the moments in which it would be nice to have a partner, and the moments in which we can't really pour into ourselves, where it's like really difficult to pour into ourselves because we're sick.
Yeah.
Um, a relationship is not always 50-50. Sometimes it's 60-40. Sometimes it's 20-80. Sometimes it's like 10-90. And I was just like in a moment where I was very vulnerable. I'm like, it'd be nice to have someone. And I found myself going to that narrative of like, I wish I had this, but I don't. And like getting like going into the
Mm-hmm.
ay bendito narrative. And I was on live and I was like, you know what? Instead of going on this ay bendito narrative, let's talk about what we want in an ideal partner. What do they
Mm-hmm.
look like? What do they feel like? What conversations are you having? And da da da. And I was like, I want a partner that I feel loved in, I feel supported in, I feel like I can be myself in. I want someone who likes to go on adventures and likes to see the world and likes to talk about this and this and this and this. I want someone who I feel like super secure in their arms and da 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 da. And there was somebody on the live and he was like, You're describing me." And then at first I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah. I'm talking to this tiny little avatar circle. It's like, let me see if you're like how cute though, you know? But like we finished the circle and everybody was throwing in like their things. I invited everybody in and became this beautiful vortex and like we were feeling good. I was
Okay.
smiling. I felt like literally that person was right there. And I was like, great. Like when it happens, because it will happen, like it's so great. Like I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to it happening. I got off that live and um I ended up sending a message, slid into the DMs. And I was like, hey, thank you so much for pouring into me during a time in which like I really needed it. It really brightened up my day. And we started talking. We shared like two texts, and then it went from voice memo to like video messages to like FaceTime for like hours, literally
Oh wow.
hours, like 5 hours on FaceTime with somebody. Just like, why not? And I was living in Puerto Rico at the time. He lives in Arizona, I was like, how am I gonna make this happen? How's it gonna work? And it just ended up working. And now I'm here, and he is exactly what I asked for. He is exactly what I looked for. I was like, I want Beyonce, Jay-Z vibes. I want to build something with somebody. And he's just been such a gift, such an added bonus, and very much so what I need right now in this phase of like self-exploration.
Yeah.
Because you learn about a lot about yourself through partnership, through love with people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
beautiful.
Now I'm here. Yeah.
That's why I love. I love like doing these interviews, these episodes, because I get to like, at
Yeah.
least for me, I don't see it that much in like in my family or like at least in my surroundings where like
Yeah.
true love type of thing. So
Yeah.
when you like
Yeah.
hear about it, or I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
seen it, but when I hear about it, it's like, oh, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's true. It can exist and it can be easy, it can be so easy. And even in the hard moments, it can be
Mm-hmm.
easy,
Okay.
where you're talking, you're at least communicating, and there's a baseline level of respect and like and understanding that like, hey, look, I don't want to be angry right now, and I'm not going to go to bed angry. I don't want to go to bed angry. I don't want to go to bed with these feelings. Like, let's continue talking about this until we reach a level of understanding of like, and even if I don't like you right now, I love you, and that love
Mm-hmm.
is way more important than me liking you right now. Like I cannot like you right now, but I still love you enough to be here and to
Mm,
not leave
okay.
you, not to abandon you, not to run away. I think we were taught uh survival and not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
love. We
Yeah.
were taught to like partnership is like, I need you. I need you. I need you. I need you. I need you because like I also need to pay the bills, and I need you because like I also need you to take care of the kids, and I need you. I need you. And it was survival. And it was very
Yeah.
necessary once upon a time in our heritage and our lineage, for sure. It's what kept us going. It's like, but we were and are meant to transcend that definition of love, and to adopt different forms of love and understand love in many different ways. And like with him, it just such a aha moment, like how much of myself I was sacrificing for other people in my past, because ultimately we crave to belong, we crave belonging, and we crave acceptance. And sometimes we sometimes those boundaries of self, they're flexible when it comes to other people. We loosen them up for somebody else who goes, oh,
Mm.
that's weird, or you're weird for doing that. And then it's like, oh, well, okay, cool, people pleasing turns on, I'm not that anymore. Who do you
Mm,
want me to
yeah.
be? Who do you want me to be? Who do you want me to be? And we mold ourselves into an idea of what we think that other person wants us to be. And what we realize is that eventually we do. It's a mask, and that mask gets tired, and it's like that's where the fighting happens. That's where the conflict happens, because there's still a part of us that's trying to defend our authenticity and what we want and what we desire and what we stand for.
Yeah. What's
If
what's
that other person doesn't vibe with it, that other person doesn't vibe with it. You're just not a match.
Yep. That's something I learned in my first and now not in a relationship no more.
Yeah,
But for
yeah.
you, what's been like the biggest lesson now that you've been, or what's something you've learned about yourself that maybe you didn't
Mm.
know during those sweet, well, before you had your, before you start your relationship?
Oh my gosh. Such a good question. Um, I think it's something that I've always known about myself, but now I have somebody to be that mirror to be like, hey, this is what you're doing right now,
Mm, okay.
especially in those unconscious moments, is that my body talks when I'm feeling something, and my body expresses when I'm feeling something. Like, you can read me, you can read my emotions. When something is wrong with me,
Okay.
you can tell. So even though I like to go, oh, I'm fine, I'm fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, I'm not fine. I'm not fine. you know, I romanticize the idea of that I'm easy, you know? Like we all just want to
Mm,
be easy, easy, easy. But like
yeah.
sometimes we're difficult. We're difficult as fuck. And like it's okay. It's okay to be difficult. Hopefully you have a partner who is just like, "Hey, you're being difficult right now.
Mm,
What's going on? What's up?" And you
okay.
feel open enough and safe enough yeah, to be there. Um yeah, and I'm also learning that uh the love that I have to offer is very valuable, and that there are people in the world who see it and appreciate it without you having to ask for appreciation, without you having to ask for like, hey, do you not see what I do, what I offer, without having to prove yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody who There are people in the world who automatically see your worth and recognize it and make it a point to express how valuable you are. And that will make it a point that exists. It exists. And I was like, damn, I'm a catch. Like, I'm a catch. I have a lot to give. And here I was settling for people who just weren't ready to appreciate what they have in
Mm-hmm.
front of them. And that's
Yeah.
not your fault, you know. It's not your fault, you know. It doesn't mean you're unlovable. It doesn't mean that you're not valuable just because somebody else can't see your value or see
Yeah.
your worth.
And
Like,
the problem is that people wanna like they validate themselves through other people, and it's like once you
yeah,
start getting that self confidence or start loving yourself, that's when you realize,
yeah,
okay, I don't need this person, and you start setting your boundaries. You start
yeah,
it's a whole ripple effect where you start getting the things that you want, not because of what
yeah,
others can't give you. So yeah, that's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
Um, since we're almost out of time, I feel like I could ask you a few more questions, but we're almost out of time. So I see the I'll go with the last two questions that I always ask
Okay,
my guests. So the
great.
first one is I'll switch it this time. The first one will be from this whole journey that you've gone through. What are like
Mm,
the top like you can say accomplishments or experiences, either big or small, like
mm,
whatever it is, but whatever like however you define it. What
mm.
have been those like top things where you can't believe like if you wouldn't have done this, like you haven't done this whole journey, or yeah, if you haven't done this journey, like this wouldn't have happened. And it's like, oh shit, like
Yeah. I think the biggest one, honestly, is being on my own side. Like
okay.
actually being on my own side, being my own cheerleader, coming back to
Mm,
myself. Like if I haven't hadn't gone on this whole journey, I wouldn't have been given that impulse to like, hey, why don't you become your best friend, you know, instead of
mm,
your worst enemy? How can you go about doing that? Like the gift of actually, you know, being on your side and having your best interest in mind, like for a hot minute, for a long time, I was literally my worst enemy.
mm,
And that comes up from time to time, you know, but I will say
yeah.
it's like not as often, like very, very rarely. And I catch myself in it. And the way that I talk to myself through it is very different than I would have once upon a time, you
Mm,
know, the gift of that voice that goes off in my head more often than not, that is nurturing, that is loving, that is kind, that is supportive, that it goes before going, you're a stupid piece of shit, goes, hey, you are doing your best right now. And that is so beautiful. Like you like look at all that you've accomplished. Like you're doing so great right now. The fact that that voice comes up first before like, oh my God, you're doing an awful job,
mm,
you can be better, you can do better, like that to me is, there's no value on that. And like yeah, my me creating content and starting on social media was uh a desperate call for to myself, you know, to
mm,
myself. I was calling out to myself. May look like I was calling out to other people who may be in the same space, and to a certain extent it was, but it was me calling out to myself and seeing if like I could hear that call. And I did.
mm.
I picked up the phone and now I'm here, baby. Now I'm here.
I didn't ask, but when did you start content creation and all?
I've always been a content creator, I'd like to
Okay.
say. Like even in the early YouTube days, there's some very
Mm.
cringe-worthy YouTube videos. Like there has always been a part of me that has wanted to have a public presence. That's wanted to share my voice and
Okay.
share my authenticity. I've always felt it. I've always felt it. Like people always feel comfortable around me. I'm like, there's something to that. So I tried many times, like back when I was 16, it was Dan Dan is Rad on YouTube, which you'll never find the videos. Try. I ask you to try. They're gone. But like I watch them by myself now and be like, "Ooh, baby, what a baby." Um, so like whether it was that, whether it was consciously Daniel, authentically Daniel, it was, hey, Dan Dan is rad, and then color this is color me crazy, to then color me crazy, to then color we crazy. Like I've always been in it, but like I will say that only recently, like in the past 2 years, 3 years, I've come home to my voice. I've come home to my voice. Yeah. And understanding what that is, understanding what I have to share. I've always felt like I had something to share. I just didn't know what it was. So
Okay.
from 18 all the way up until like a couple of years ago, I was exploring what that could be until something finally stuck. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This is it. This is the thing. Run, run,
Yeah.
run, 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 run.
That's awesome. And I think that goes like with to like the journey, and then I don't know if we talked about this before we
Yeah.
started recording, but the instant gratification and then the long
Yeah.
term.
Oh
Cause
yeah,
like
that's why I stopped so many times YouTube. I was like, I'm not famous now. And then like that conversation extends so far deep in the culture, We see it in young people and they're like back in the day, I talk about back in the day, but like when we were younger, it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a lawyer. And now you ask kids what they want to be when they grow up and like, I want to be famous. And it's like they go to that before literally anything else. So that's such a very
yeah.
interesting thing. It's like what we're seeing in the collective right now is a collective of people who are hungry, who are yearning to be seen, who want to be seen, who want to be validated for being seen, for being what they think is themselves. But you are seen to the extent that you see yourself. So like I started really noticing that the minute I really started looking at myself and facing myself and creating content through that lens, versus creating content to distract me from myself, um, I really started seeing the growth there. And like me having a following just is the repercussions of that. I was never creating it because I wanted to be famous or I wanted to have X amount of followers. It's nice. I like it. But let me tell you, more often than not, it gives me anxiety than it gives me like, you know, all these good feelings. Cause like now you have people who are just like watching and like and I'm just like, fuck, I don't know. And like every day is a constant like, I don't know if I can show up as that like today or for
Yeah.
right now. And I feel the pressure of having to show up consistently in a certain way now because literally people on social media, they just see you in this tiny sliver, this tiny pocket. And I'm just like, that's not only me. So I do my best for my content to reflect that as well in many
Yeah.
layers. Um,
Interesting.
mm,
I think that's why like I enjoy having these conversations because at least for me, I'm not really a lot in social media and sometimes because of that I forget to post. But
yeah,
I also feel like I could learn more about someone if I actually talk to them and not just looking at their content. So
yeah,
it's a nice way to kind of like get
yeah,
meet people and then like get to know them more besides just their content. Which like
yeah,
I mean your content is awesome. Like there's some I know I have an information somewhere like in my poster like wall, but then like there's like
yeah.
the how you I don't know it's like how you film yourself too is like I don't know I feel like
Mhm.
I'm like jamming into that so um
Yeah, yeah,
so yeah
yeah.
I mean your content yeah just go make your content is awesome.
Hey, I
Um
I said I want my content to look cute and I wanted to it was my mission and like I film everything on my phone, it was like everybody thinks I'm using these fancy cameras and all of this stuff. I'm like it's my phone. There are ways to like with what you have to make your life look like the movie that you envision it to be. Um, you know, And that's
Yeah.
what that was me, playing. I was like, I know my life is a movie. I'm gonna make that movie right now. And here
Main
here we are.
character.
Main character energy all the way, for
Yes.
sure, for sure.
um, Before I ask you the last question, I actually had another question. Like, how did you come
Mhm.
up with your brand name, like Color Me Crazy?
Well, it started as Color Me Crazy Art. That was my handle, which
Okay.
came around it was during 2020, Inktober. It was 2020, Inktober. It was the first time in my life that I was making more on unemployment than I was actually making from the job that I was working. I got let go from
Wow.
managing restaurants and whatnot. And I had time. I had time to explore. I no longer had the excuse of like, oh, I don't have time. I have this, I have this, I have work. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, fuck, I guess I do something. So I just sat with my iPad and I drew every single day for Inktober. And every single day I just created a masterpiece. And although the inside, my internal world felt very heavy and I felt very quiet during that time, I didn't know what to really say because a lot came up for us during 2020 for sure. Um, all of my artwork was very colorful, very vibrant. It was a way of me like literally injecting color during this very dark time in the world.
Yeah.
And all I did was like watch cartoons and draw. I was watching talk about nostalgia. I went to nostalgia. I was like, fuck, I want Rocco's Modern Life. I want Hey Arnold. I want all the cartoons that I grew up watching. Give me Nickelodeon, give me Cartoon Network, give me Powerpuff Girls. And I would just binge watch cartoons. And drink margaritas and draw. So I created these masterpieces every single day and it was all colorful. So I was like, it just like in the middle of the night one day, I was like, color me crazy. And like I was like, color me crazy can encapsulate so many things though. It can be the artwork. It could be all of these interests that I have. It could be my tarot. It could be the this, color me whatever you want. Color me crazy, but like I'm happy, I'm exploring, I'm doing great. And it was like my attempt of like destigmatizing that word crazy as well, because so many people go, oh, well, you're just crazy, or crazy is a bad thing. It's like, no, crazy is good. Crazy is amazing. Crazy is better than boring. Crazy, at least
Yes.
there's action, there's courage. It takes balls to be crazy. It takes vulvas to be crazy. It takes like everything just to like really be out there, put yourself out there without giving a fuck of like how you're going to be received, without caring how you'll be received. So like now we're at Color We Crazy on social media. I still go by Color Me Crazy because it's like my goal is to get everybody else tapping into their inner crazy. Those little things that they're like, oh, I'm crazy for thinking this, or like like, oh, I'm not gonna do this thing that I've always wanted to do. That would be crazy. I'm not gonna sell all my belongings and like hop in a van and just like travel across the country. That would be
Okay.
crazy. No, go be crazy. Life is too short to be safe. Life is too short to be normal, to be like everybody else. We've seen what normalcy has done, and like everybody feels trapped in normalcy. Everybody feels trapped in normalcy. So now we're here, color me crazy, baby, all the way.
Oh,
We
that's
have so
awesome.
many colors, so many shades, and share it with the world, please. We need it. We need authenticity in this world because
For sure.
let me tell you, everything else is manufactured and it's gonna get tired real quick. So yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. That was some story and also a message too. So thank you for sharing
yeah, of course. All the shares, all the shares.
And then
Easy.
now the last question, even though I don't want this to end, but the
I
last
know it's
question
been so good.
is yeah, the last question is for those who want, and it's kind of like a bit of what you mentioned is like for those who believe that que no se merecen or don't deserve to start a new hobby or start a new business, start a new skill, go to school, whatever it is.
Mhm.
What pep talk or what advice strategy would you give them to actually like push them to start?
You got time, you got time, you got time, you got time. Get rid of that bogus excuse that I don't have time to do this. I can't do this because of this responsibility, because of that responsibility. You have time, you have space. Get the phone out of your hand, get the distractions out of your face, and dedicate yourself little by little, even if it's just an hour every single day to whatever it is that you want to do. And just go for it. If you don't know what that is, if you're trying to find the one thing, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Don't get hooked on finding the one thing. Just start trying things on, and little by little, and trust and believe something is going to stick, and you're going to be like, oh, this is what I want to run with. And just like try it on, give yourself permission to fail, try, like, fail big, fail so hard. Like, failure is not a bad thing. Failure lead a failure is a success. A
Mm-hmm.
failure is a success because now like, well,
Yeah.
not going to go that direction, not going to go that route anymore. And just do it scared, do shit scared. Like, don't you're never going to be ready. It's never going to be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, the right moment, like, when all of this happens, then I'll dot dot dot. Why wait? If you stick to waiting for the right thing, the right time, the right this, da, 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 you're going to be waiting around forever. um you got to just choose something and go and see what happens. And, like, for me, like, understanding as well, like, you can change your mind. You can always
Mm-hmm.
change your mind. You don't have to be stuck doing the same thing over and over again. Is it better to stay comfortable in what you already know, which, like, what you already know has already shown you what you already get, like, time and time
Mm-hmm.
again. And if you want something else, you got to try something else. You just do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
understand you're going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be easy, but the rewards are so worth it. Way worth it. Way, way worth it. You owe it to yourself. You are deserving. Te lo merece. Like, it's yours. And there's no reason why you shouldn't. There's no reason why you shouldn't.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's
We all
beautiful.
faking it. We all
Over
faking it
here.
until we making it. We are all faking it until we making it. Now you just got to believe in what you're faking until it becomes true.
So it comes,
And
yeah.
mhm,
Yeah. Oh, that's
yeah.
beautiful. I really hope
Yeah.
that those who are listening to really, really get ingrained that into their heads. And even my head,
Yeah.
like, even that, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? What am I scared of that I need to do now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here. Um,
Absolutely.
for those who want to go follow you, share. I
Yeah.
mean, you mentioned your social medias, but just again for those who maybe
Yeah.
did not listen.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. At Color We Crazy. That's Color We, not Color Me. Color We Crazy. On TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, you can find me at Color Me Crazy TV. I
Mm-hmm.
also have a podcast as
Yes.
well called Crazy Talk with Daniel Colon. On all podcasting platforms, you can look that up. And you can just hop on my website, colormecrazy.world, to
Okay.
find out what I have to offer. You can book a reading, you can book a
Yes,
one-on-one
I'm gonna
session
do
with
that.
me. Yeah, let's talk about it. I know we didn't get to dive into astrology, but we
Uh,
will. We
next
will.
episode, next episode, part two, part two.
Yes, I'd love to be back. Thank you for having me, and, like, also, like, thank you for doing this, and for, like, even, like, you talking about, like, hey, I'm not one to normally talk like this or anything like that. Like, kudos to you. You are literally the embodiment of stepping out of your comfort zone and trying something on. Deep down inside, like, this is something that makes sense to you, and this is something that you want to do, and you're doing it. You're doing it. So give yourself a big old pat on your back, because, yeah, dust that shoulder off, baby.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for this
You're
words. I really
welcome.
appreciate it.
You are
Yeah.
appreciated.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Um,
welcome. Alrighty.
for those who are listening, don't forget to give us a review on Spotify or Apple
Yeah.
Podcasts. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to follow, not follow, subscribe, comment, like, share, all of that. Because again, that supports the podcast. And with that being said, thank you again, Danielle, and thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for everybody who has listened and watched. See you the next one.
Mucho, 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 mucho amor. Bye,
Amor.
everybody.
Bye.